Hi, Rock Point. I'm Adina.
And I'm Mike.
We just wanted to come to you today from our houses. I'm here this Sunday morning sitting in my kitchen.
And
Michael, I think you're doing the same thing.
Same thing.
I love it. I love it. So what's going on this Sunday morning? What are you getting ready for today?
Well, this Sunday morning, I'm getting ready for Super Bowl.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes.
Are you a big football fan?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I don't get as much time to watch as I'd like, but I'm definitely going for Kansas City. So.
Okay. See.
And who are you going for?
Well, you know what? I don't care who wins. I'm Super Bowl. I'm all about the food, because I love party food.
Same.
So bring me some food. So what are your favorite football snacks?
I was gonna ask you. My favorite football snacks definitely. I love Fritos. I love just any type of chips. Chips and dip.
Yes.
Lots of finger foods. I mean, I love little tacos.
Yes.
What do you think? What would you
I'm the exact same. I'm like chips. Any kind of dip or like anything creamy. And I love any little mini appetizer, something.
Yes.
Delicious.
Yes.
That's the way to go.
What's your favorite dip? I'm all about spinach.
Oh, yeah, like the spinach artichoke.
Oh.
That's the best. That's the best. But hey, let's say good morning to anyone who's watching for the first time. And if this is your first time watching, we would love for you to text us at 512-710-2323. Michael, what are they going to get if they text in?
If you text in, you'll get a cup of coffee.
That's right. We're going to send you your favorite coffee. Michael, so you're a coffee drinker?
Love coffee, yes. Probably.
All right, what's your favorite? What's your favorite coffee?
Well, I love Starbucks. We could start.
Okay.
But I do make my own coffee at home. I love a dark roast. What about you?
There you go. Yes. I drink almost 90% of my coffee. I'm a black coffee girl.
Yes.
I like it. Just don't put anything in it. Just give me good old fashioned coffee.
I think that's the best way. I don't think people realize that it's the best way to get what you need.
Yes. So our first time guest, we're going to send them a cup of coffee because I think around here we believe that coffee is love. So we're going to send you that cup of coffee. But you know what? We also have a connection card. We're going to put up a QR code, and anybody can just take out their phone. They can scan that QR code, and that's just going to bring up a place for you to share your prayer request with us. And I know that people from home, just because you're not in the building on campus doesn't mean that we don't want to pray for you. So let us know. Give us your prayer request. We also, on that same connection card, have some next steps opportunities. And this is a really good time for you to look through the list and just take your next step from home. We have everything you want to do. You can do it from home. So, Michael, I know that you are one of our online campus people. Each week, do you get your family gathered around the TV and watch church?
We watch right from home every Sunday, religiously. We're gathered at home. It's nothing. We've realized that it's nothing better than watch. If we have to do it, it's comfortable and it's not a bad thing. So we love gathering around in the living room, usually in the front room or our main living room, and sometimes in our pajamas, with coffee in hand.
Yes, I think that's the best thing about being able to watch church at home. I said this last week that's one of the best things about COVID was we really ramped up our online campus.
Yes.
And I love that. Anybody can watch from anywhere, and you can watch at home in your PJs with your house shoes on with your coffee.
Yes.
Nothing better.
Who knew?
But one of the things I do want to say is that I love that just because you're at home watching, you can still have a watch party. You have family or close friends, invite them over. You can still watch with that. We did watch parties for a long time. So anyway, also, I bet you and your girls watch The Family Experience after this. Yes. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things. So.
For sure.
All right, well, we're going to let everybody go for now. We're going to direct them. We've got a great service plan, and we will see you after the service. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
And I take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, take it all back. great, feeling well on my way to my dreams coming true, and I'm getting to do it with you. And it feels so nice when the people sing along. They're singing along to the banjo. And I take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, just to have you. And I take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, just to have you. One day we might have a big house with nice cars and fancy clothes, and a wife with a big old diamond ring. Cause the people, they dancing along to the Mando. It's some sort of hip-hop beat. Ooh, and I take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, I take it all back, just to have you. Take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, just to have you. Here we go. I'm waking up. I'm waking up. Come on, y'all put y'all's hands together. Help us out. I'm waking up. Waking up. Ooh, waking up. And I take it all back, take it all back, take it all back. I take it all back just to have you. Take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, take it all back, just to have you. My life is real great, feel I'm well on my way to my dreams coming true, and I'm getting to do it with you. Yeah.
And just like we're going to be cheering for what our favorite team or the team that we hope is going to win, we're going to also cheer for Maddie this morning. And when she comes up out of that water, we're going to cheer like your favorite team won the Super Bowl this morning, because Maddie was sharing with me. Maddie's in 8th grade, and she's from Liberty Hill. And she was just sharing with me about how she's grown up in church, and how she's been in and out of church a little bit, and how she's been through a few things in her life that she's turned to God for. And she was also sharing with me that recently she at a gym found a Bible, and she started reading that Bible, and really for herself, she's really taken hold of her faith for herself in 8th grade. And she was sharing with me that she's made that decision to follow Jesus, and she's committed her life to him. And so with that this morning, we're going to celebrate that decision in her life with baptism to follow Jesus. So, Maddie, have you made the decision to follow Jesus and to make him the Lord and the boss of your life?
Yes, sir.
All right, hang on to those glasses in your nose. All right, because of that decision, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Buried in the likeness of his death, raised to walk in the light. Awesome. Good job. Proud of you. All right, thank you.
Isn't that awesome? Come on, y'all stand up with us. If you're at home watching on the couch, let's sing together.
Love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. all my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, yeah you have. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire and darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend. I have lived the goodness of God. I'll sing with us all my life. All my life you have been faithful, so good. Sing it. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after. Come on, sing it again, your goodness. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Yes, it is. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. Oh, come on, somebody say. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I'm gonna say, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. Come on, one more time, y'all sing with us. All my life. Sing it out. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Hey, I hope that you're glad you came to church this morning, whether you're in the room or watching online somewhere. I hope that today's an encouragement to you. You know, I hope that church it helps you in some way this morning. So you can sit back, relax, and watch this. Well, how are you doing today? It is great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Those of you that I can see, those of you that I can't, I know you're there. Thanks for watching and being a part. Just super excited. I'm so glad that you've joined us today for this brand new series. I'm just excited about this topic because it's just such a big thing in our culture right now. And it's this idea of canceled. I mean, it's just everywhere, isn't it, y'all? I mean, it's just everywhere around us. And so let's be honest. We've all got some kind of relationship in our life that unfortunately would be characterized by the word canceled. Maybe it's a coworker that, they heat up their corned beef and cabbage in the microwave and it just smells out the entire office. And then they sit right next to you and they just smack the whole time. Maybe for you, it's that family member that no longer speaks to you. And you're already concocting ways and plans to make sure you don't have to see them this year. Like COVID's your friend. Well, we can't come over, right? And so we've all got it in our lives somewhere. It's a cancel culture. And it can infect relationships. And it does infect our relationships. And that's why we're doing this series. It's the reason why we're actually doing it is because what we know is a relationship can go from bad to worse in just a matter of moments. It doesn't take long. I mean, a great marriage, a great friendship, a great roommate, or a coworker can just go bad in just a moment. And we don't want that to happen for any of us. And so what I want to do to kick this series off is I want to tell you a story, and I just want to be honest with you. I've gone back and forth on whether or not I actually want to say this out loud in front of you. Because it's vulnerable for me. And being transparent about this story, I honestly, I'm not proud of it. I'm actually embarrassed about it, but it happened. It's a story that I hope maybe you can learn something from as well. And I'm hoping that as I tell you this story about two friends canceling each other somewhat recently in my life, that you can pull something for your life as well. It hasn't been that long ago, a few years ago, I have a friend, his name's Daniel. And one day, Daniel came over to my house. He called and he said, hey, I want to stop by. And Daniel and I have done a lot of stuff together. We've been friends for a really long time. He's been here at church for a really long time. And he said, I want to stop by and talk to you. And I said, great, come on by. And I was outside working, doing some things. And while I was out there, he showed up. And Daniel got out and walked up and delivered some news to me that, I'll just be honest, I didn't like. I didn't like what he said, and I didn't like how he said it. And what he told me was something he had told me before, but he told me, I'm moving on. I'm not going to be at church with you anymore. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to this other church because they're doing this thing, and I want to be a part of that. And I got to tell you, that just hurt kind of at the core for me. And I didn't respond well at all. In fact, I was pretty brutal in how I responded. I said some things in those few moments he was at my house that literally canceled that relationship. And I knew I was saying them when I said it, and I knew what it would do. And in that moment, and this is the embarrassing part to me, in that moment, I was okay with it. But I couldn't get over it. I'll tell you the rest of the story in just a little bit. But for now, let's just say that every relationship is right around the corner from going from bad to worse. And how we handle those difficult conversations in those difficult moments really do influence the health and the quality of your life. In fact, we can say it this way: the quality of our lives is only as good as the quality of our relationships. And look, you and I, we already know this is true, because if you have a relationship that's bad and getting worse, do you know what the worst part about it is? Is that it has made your life worse.
In fact, it's caused pain, it's caused hurt, it's caused anger, and all the emotional energy that you've spent on it has robbed you of the quality of life and peace in life that you want to have. And so over the next few weeks, we're just going to talk about that idea, the idea of having peace with others. And here's what we're going to discover. In fact, what we're going to discover, what I'm about to tell you, is kind of the big idea of the series, and it's this, is that you can have peace about a relationship even without having peace in the relationship. That you can have peace about that relationship that exists out there without having peace within it. And if you have a relationship that has gone bad or is getting worse, or you've canceled them out of your life or they've canceled you out of theirs, you can have peace about that relationship even if there's never any peace in the relationship. And let me tell you, just knowing that will ultimately lead to happiness and greater joy in your own life. So the guy that I want us to get some advice from today was a prolific writer. He was extremely, extremely passionate. He's very well educated. He was trained as an attorney, and get this, he wrote about half of the New Testament. And of course, I'm talking about the Apostle Paul. And so what Paul does is he gives us some really great advice in Romans chapter 12, and here's what he says. Paul says this: live at peace with everyone. Now, you may be thinking, all right, easier said than done, Paul. Paul, I bet you didn't have a mother-in-law. Paul, I bet you didn't have a roommate. I bet, Paul, you never had a super annoying co-worker. So what, live at peace with everyone? Sure, Paul, I'll just go ahead and do that. But when you begin to understand where that's coming from and who this is coming from, it could begin to help you understand how canceled Paul actually was. And when you understand that, it's going to make these words even that much more powerful. Get this. Paul was up to his eyeballs in the first century cancel culture. He was a man who in his former life persecuted Jesus' followers. He was out to get anyone who called themselves a follower of Jesus. He would persecute them, he would imprison them, and often he oversaw their death for being Jesus' followers. And then in a moment, his life flipped and he went from being a hater of the church to being one of the pioneers of the church. And we think, oh, how cool. That's super cool. Paul, way to go. You saw the light, literally, and you turned your life around. So great for you. But how challenging that had to be for him in relationships. Because now Paul is trying to have relationships with people that he had actually thrown into prison. He's trying to have a relationship with families of the people that he had put to death. And they're going, oh, wait a minute, Paul, so now you want to be cool? Now you want to hang out? Look, this man knew what it was like to attempt to live at peace with everyone, but Paul had been canceled by both sides. He had the people that he had persecuted and tormented, and he's trying to have a relationship with them. And then he has these people that were on the other side that used to be his co-workers and his friends, and on that team of putting Jesus' followers to death and in prison. And now all of a sudden, he's an enemy of both. And then it's Paul who says, hey, live at peace with everyone because your life will be better for it. Now, here's what Paul has done. He's thrown a couple of phrases in before this statement, live at peace with everyone. There's a couple of little phrases that come before this, and you've got to get them. They're so important for whenever we get this. So here's the first one he said. Paul said, if it is possible, live at peace with everyone. Meaning, it might not be possible. Like I've tried to be at peace with them and it just hasn't happened, but I've tried. And look, come on, let's be honest. There's two sides to that, right? I've tried and it hasn't gone well and we don't have peace yet. But if I knew of one thing I could do, I would do it And I would try. And then there's this other side of it where it's like, hey, I never thought we would have a good relationship, and now here we are. We've got this relationship that's working for both of us. And Paul's saying, I'm just telling you, the good news is it may be possible. But I'm telling you, the bad news is it might never be possible. And the same thing is true for you in your relationships. That relationship you have that's gone bad to worse, there may never be peace in that relationship. But get this, the pursuit of peace, even without the promise of peace, get that, just trying to have peace without the promise of peace is not a waste of your time. And then Paul gives us this other phrase that comes right before the main part of the verse. And I'm telling you, this phrase is the kicker. This phrase is the phrase where you put all your chips on the table for this phrase. And here's what he says. Look at this. If it is possible, check it out. As far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. In other words, I don't know if it's going to be possible. I've seen it where I never thought it would happen, and it's happening. I've seen it where I never thought it would happen, and then I thought it would, and then it didn't. And Paul's saying, hey, I can't take back what I did, but I've done everything I know to do to pursue peace with that person. He says, as far as it depends on you. As much as it depends on you. What a powerful phrase. You ever heard someone say this? We say this quite often. Hey, you just do you, right? You hear people say that? I mean, sometimes they just shorten a little bit and just go, hey, do you, buddy? You just do you, right? You might tell your friend who's about ready to go out on a date and he's a little nervous about it. It's like, hey, brother, look, you just do you. You throw that gel in your hair. You put on your favorite Hawaiian shirt. Go ahead, tuck your pants in your boots. You just do you, buddy. Whatever she thinks, right? Or that girl, she's going in and you know she's a friend of yours and she's going in to ask her boss for a raise and it's like, hey, I don't know if he's going to give it to you or not, but girl, you go in there and you just do you and you tell the boss what's up, right? Just tell him. I mean, that's what we say, right? You just do you. We tell our kids that, right? When they're like getting ready to go off to school, it's like, hey, honey, look, just be yourself, right? Just be yourself. You just do you, right? See, I'd love to challenge us to flip the meaning of that. Because you do you just plays right into our narcissistic culture. And Paul says, hey, look, no. As far as it depends on you. Because in a relationship that's bad or getting worse or being canceled, where do you end up spending all of your energy? On the other person, right? See, all of your energy is directed at if you would just change, if you would just stop, if you would just get over yourself, if you would just quit being so selfish, if you would just repay me, if you just understand what I'm really trying to say, then we could have a relationship. And Paul says, look, I'm just telling you, if it's possible, as far as it depends on you, stop talking about them. You got to say, hey, let's talk about what depends on me and what I can do about that. So let me just ask you the question. In that relationship that's struggling in your life right now, what depends on you in that relationship? What is it that depends on you? Let me explain it this way. Let's say that this circle here is the relationship, right? That's the relationship that you have that's struggling. It's what's going on in the relationship. It's everything about the relationship. Let's just say it's all represented right there in that little circle. Here's what Paul's trying to tell us. You got to own your piece of the pie. You got to say, you know what? Yeah, I yelled at the kids and that wasn't good. And then I yelled at you in front of the kids and now they're doing that. Okay, look, that's on me. I did it. That's smart. You know what? You're right. What I did, this is my part. I shouldn't have done that. I got to own that. That's my part. And maybe your part's not even that big. Maybe it's a little bigger, but that's my part. The piece of the pie, that's what depends on me. It's like, hey, here's our relationship. This part right here depends on me. I can do something about that. But what depends on you, you got to own. And maybe you think, you've done everything you know to do, and maybe you feel like you've gone as far as you can go. Well, let me just ask you the hard question. Can you go any further? Like, I feel like I've just done everything I can do. Let me just ask you. Can you do something to take another step? And look, I understand what happened, and I understand it's a mess, and I get all of that. And you feel like there's no relationship, but would you even be open to the idea that there might be something else you could do to take a step further? And if you're thinking, come on, Shane, when is enough enough? I mean, is there ever a time when it's just irresponsible for me to go further? And look, you got to come back over the next couple of weeks because we're going to talk about that idea of when do you say, you know what, it's not just appropriate for me to stop, but it's responsible for me to say enough is enough. But until then, let me just ask you, can you go further in that relationship? Are you willing to take one more step? And here's the reason why. Because peace is possible for you when you've done all you can do. Get that. That peace in that relationship, peace about that relationship is possible for you when you've done all that you can do. Like if I knew there was something else I could do, I would do it. I don't want to cancel this relationship. And peace is possible when you can look in the mirror and when you can sit with your small group, when you can sit with people that you trust and know, and they say, you know what, we think you're right. We think you've done all you can do. See, Paul says, if it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. And so today I want to give you one step to work on this week. One step that I think all of us should take. And I think it's just the most powerful step towards being able to say, as far as it depends on me, I have done everything that I know to do. So here's what I think. I think the game of golf can help us. Now, if you don't play golf, come on, man, get your life together, all right? But I think the game of golf can really help us because, when you're playing golf, what happens is, you end up when you've got this putt that you need to make and, here it is. And so what do? We're here, we walk onto the green, it's on the green and we get ready to do this and we've got this putt that we need to make. And so what do? We look at it. We examine it. And what are we doing when we look at it? If you don't know golf, what golfers are doing is they're actually looking at the break. They're looking at the grass, the grain of the grass. Is it going to go left? Is it going to go right? Is there a double break in here? Might it move a little bit that way? I need to kind of examine it. And often, here's what you'll do. You'll see people get down here and look. Sometimes they'll hold this up and they'll look. And then most of the time, people get up and make the putt. But do you know what the pros do? The pros, I'm talking about the people who make all the money at this, right? Do you know what they do? In fact, this is a little bit of what makes golf so boring sometimes to watch, is they start taking this walk all the way around to the other side, and they find themselves on the other side looking back at the same putt, the same ball, the same putt, and they do the same thing over here. They get around to this side, and they'll watch, and they'll look, and do you know why they do this? Do you know the reason why they do this? The reason they come over here and do this is because about 80 or 90% of what you need to know is on that side. But there's something on this side that you can't see until you get to this side. And they end up taking the long walk around to make sure that they know what to do. And it just might change my approach to the shot. And I might just see something over here that I've never seen before. So let's talk about that relationship in your life that you would say is bad and getting worse and may not make it. See, take a look. Maybe this is you and maybe this is me. Let's look at it like this, and we're connected and we have this relationship. But then something happens, and our relationship looks a little bit like this. And all of a sudden, it's a mess, right? Things start to go bad, and you're like, well, what happened? I mean, what's up with that? I mean, that's messed up, and I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they said that. And all of a sudden, this healthy relationship I had is just not working anymore. Or maybe it doesn't look like that. Maybe it looks more like this. And it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, we're just, some days we're up, some days we're down. I have no idea. It's just, we might even characterize that as just complicated. And then God forbid that there's a relationship that looks like this. And now we're just separated. Somebody canceled somebody. Somebody said something that ended the thing. We're not even connected. They dropped me, I dropped them, we canceled, we're out. So let me just tell you, that step that you can take, that all of us can take, that could change so much, is this right here. It's empathy. Do you know what empathy is? Empathy is the long walk around to the other side. Where you say, I'm going to take that long walk and I'm going to see what is here in this relationship from a different perspective. I'm going to feel it the way that I've never felt it before. Brené Brown is a researcher and a professor at the University of Houston, and she has this TED Talk that's one of the most watched TED Talks, and she talks and teaches about the 4 qualities of empathy. And I want to just give them to you real quick, because just not much comment, but just give them to you because they're just so helpful. The first one is this. The first quality is taking on their perspective as truth. Like, I've gone around and I've looked back. It's like, let me just look at it from their side and assume that it's true. And then when I get to the other side, the second thing she talks about is that I suspend my judgment. I'm just going to look at it. I'm going to assume what they're saying is true. I'm going to suspend my judgment, and I take on their perspective. And you know what? I know what I feel, and I'm not saying my feelings aren't real or they're not valid or even what they did was okay. I'm just going to take on their perspective as truth. I'm going to suspend my judgment, and then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just recognize what they are truly feeling in this relationship. I'm going to put my feelings aside for a few minutes, and I'm just going to recognize what they're feeling. And then I'll just tell you, this last one is just the hardest part, and it's this. I'm going to communicate that feeling that I recognized from the other side and that emotion that I recognized from the other side. So I'm going to assume it's true. I'm going to their perspective is probably true. I'm going to suspend my judgment of what I think they did. I'm going to recognize that they're feeling some emotion in there, and then I'm going to communicate that feeling or that emotion either to them or someone that I trust. And look, what we're talking about is not sympathy. You know what sympathy is? Sympathy is this: acknowledging what the other person feels. That's not what we're talking about. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about empathy. And it's feeling what the other person feels. Not just saying, hey, it's true, you feel that. It's literally feeling it with them. And the only way that you and I can do that in our relationships is if we are willing to take the long walk around. And I'm just telling you, in any hurting relationship, empathy is the key to opening up a dialogue that leads to healthy relationships. Like, hey, I need to hear your whole story. Hey, I need to understand what you're feeling, because it's just true. What Taylor Swift said was right. Band-Aids just don't fix bullet holes. You continue to approach that bad relationship from only your side, and it's not going to help either. As long as you look at it from this side only, you're only going to continue to reaffirm what you already know and you already feel. But if you want to find peace in the relationship, you have to take the long walk around and you've got to look at it from the other side, because that is the first aid for hurting relationships. And look, there may never be peace in the relationship, but you can have peace about the relationship if you will choose to take the long walk around. It's like, it pains me to do this, but I'm going to try to feel it from your side. So 4 months after Daniel drove away from my house, there had been no communication. And 4 months later, I reached out and I asked if he'd have coffee with me so we could talk. And I got no response. So I waited 30 more days. And I reached out again, and this past week I went back and looked at the text. What did I say? And here's what I said. I said, the relationship means something to me, and we've been friends for too long to let it go. I'd like to talk through it so our friendship can continue, if you'd be willing. And he graciously responded. We met up, and my agenda in that meetup over coffee was just to listen to how he felt about what I did. And then he was gracious enough to listen to me as I acknowledged how hard that must have been for him to hear from me. And he allowed me to make amends for my piece of what I broke down, for the part that depended on me. And I got to tell you, over the last 4 years, we've done some great work together. Enough that I could call him and say, I'm thinking about telling this story, but there's no chance in the world I would tell it without asking you. And for him to say the same thing that I thought, that if our story of brokenness can somehow help someone else, let's put it out there. And today I have a friendship restored that I enjoy and that I need in my life. But I'm just telling you, if you want to find peace about the relationship, you got to walk around. And then force yourself to feel and communicate those emotions. And that's when peace will happen. See, this is really that's at the core of who God is. Because God took the long walk of empathy himself. God crammed all of his holiness into a body and took the long walk to our planet because he wanted to feel what you feel. God had communicated in the clouds before, in the fire before, written on tablets through other people, and he said, you know what, enough's enough. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna walk in your shoes. And Jesus is God's exclamation point of empathy, of going, I wanna know what you feel, but he didn't have to. But he did. And then he says to us, see, when I'm asking you to forgive someone, I'm just saying forgive like I forgave you. When I ask you to love, look, I'm simply asking you to love like I loved you. When I'm asking you to show mercy, I'm just saying show mercy as a person would who's actually been shown mercy. And when you take the long walk of empathy, you're doing what God did for you. So don't do it for me. In fact, don't do it for anybody else. But do it for yourself and do it for your Heavenly Father who did it for you. Let me just ask you, would you walk around and take the long walk of empathy? Because God took the long walk of empathy, not just to understand our broken relationship with him, but to actually fix it. And he did it through Jesus. And he just tells us, go and do the same thing for others. Let me pray for us today. Father, I want to ask that you would help us. God, we struggle so much with this. This is harder to do than it is to talk about. And sometimes when we've been the culprit, it's hard to talk about. And so, Father, I just ask that you would help us, God, because we're going to need your strength and your courage in us to be able to do this. And so, God, I know there are those right here in front of me today that are just like me in that way. They've done something that canceled or broke a relationship. And it hurt, and it still does. And so, Father, I just ask that you would help us, God, that you would help us. For these sitting here today, that something about today just connected. Would you please give them what they need to know that you'll be with them as they take that long walk, and that you'll do something in their heart that shows what that emotion and that feeling so that they can feel it. And so, God, as we ask you to help us feel those, would you please do that? And God, we're living in a culture that says you're dead to me, I'm done, I'm out, I want nothing to do, unfollow, unfriend, it's over. But as your followers, God, you've called us to something different than that. So would you teach us and help us to become like you so we can do what you did for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Come on, let's stand together and sing some more.
Gotta let it warm up here. You need to go.
I've carried a burden for too long on my own. I wasn't created to bear it alone. I hear your invitation to let it all go. Oh, I see it now, I'm laying it down. I know that I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, oh, oh. You saw my condition, had a plan from the start. Your son for redemption, what a price for my heart. I don't have a context for that kind of love. Oh, I don't understand, Lord, I can't comprehend. All I know is I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. Done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my I've carried the burden too long. I wasn't created to bear it alone. Come on, y'all sing. My heart has been in your sights long before my first breath, running into your arms is running to life from death. My heart has been in your sights long before my first breath, running into, running to life from death. I feel this rush deep in my chest. Your mercy is close. You're calling me out just as I am. You pull me in. I know I need you now. I run to the Father. I fall into grace. Done with the hiding. Reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon. My soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Well, hey, I don't know about y'all, but for a guy who's made a lot of mistakes in my life, some even recently, I'm just glad that Jesus continues to take the long walk around, right? I don't know, are y'all that way too, huh? Well, hey, if you're watching from home or you're here in the room, thank you so much for joining us today. You guys that are watching online, I'm going to throw it over to my friends Michael and Adina, and we'll see you here next week.
Hi, I'm Adina. We're back, and we have,
And I'm Mike.
there we go. Hey guys, what a great service. I think I feel like I say this every week. It's such a good service, but every week I feel like I learned something new, and it's just something different every single week. And I always find a way that I appreciate that, because I know God always has something to say.
Yes, you had to touch on what you just said, Adina. I couldn't agree more. I find myself saying that every Sunday. I feel like Pastor Shane was talking to me directly.
Yes. Sometimes people are like, Shane, are you living in my house this week?
Seriously.
I love that.
You know, on the screen you have the connection card, and that's basically a prayer request card. It's an honor for you to allow us to pray for you, and please know that we don't take it lightly. Also, I want to touch on the family experience, which is something that we do after service every Sunday. You can gather the kids around for the family experience, because just like we want to have church and we want to fellowship, we know that the children do too. So we don't want them to lose that experience due to being online. So please.
So I'm going to say right before we go to the family experience that we are going to give our people an opportunity to give, because, you know, around Rock Point, none of this would be possible without the people who give so generously. So they're going to put up a giving QR code. You can just scan that and it brings up the screen and you can give. If you're not prepared to give right now, that's okay. You can always give on the app or our website, which is www.rockpointchurch.com. And that's Rock Point with an E. All right, Michael, let's throw it to the family experience. I always say, call the kids, gather them around the TV.
Please gather the kids around the TV after service on Sunday, and please let them bask in that family experience.
Yes.
So good seeing you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Michaela. Welcome to this week's Family Experience. Who is watching the big game today? There's quite a lot of you guys. This month, we are all super fans. We're cheering each other on and we're choosing to show kindness. It is so important for us to show kindness and to treat each other the way that we want to be treated. And that takes us to our bottom line for this week. Be kind to others because God is kind to you. God has been so kind to us. His love gives us joy that nothing can take away.
Got a rhythm in my heart and in my soul. Got a reason for this joy I can't control. I wanna sing, I wanna dance, and give everyone a chance to hear about this endless love I know. Oh, what you give to me is not for me to keep, it's for the world to see your love. Every day you're giving me your kindness. Every day you're giving me your love. Oh, with every single breath I am reminded that what you give is more than enough. So I'll give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Yeah, you make me shine, you make me glow. You pick me up when I am feeling low. I wanna sing, I wanna dance, and give everyone a chance to hear about this endless love I know. Oh, what you give to me is not for me to keep, it's for the world to see your love. Every day you're giving me your kindness. Every day you're giving me your love. Oh, with every single breath I am reminded that what you give is more than enough. So I'll give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Can't keep it to myself, gotta share it with someone else. Your kindness overwhelms my heart, my heart. Can't keep it to myself, gotta share it with someone else. Your kindness overwhelms my heart, my heart. Oh, what you give to me is not for me to keep, it's for the world to see your love. Every day you're giving me your kindness. Every day you're giving me your love. Oh, with every single breath I am reminded that what you give is more than enough. So I'll give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away. Give a little kindness, give a little kindness, give a little love away.
I love that song. Great job singing today, guys. Okay, listen, now it's time for our giveaway. If you would like to enter this week's drawing, then text SUPERFAN to 512-710-2323 for your chance to win. Kindness is showing others they are valuable by how you treat them. By being a super fan, I am showing others how much they mean to me. They bring me so much excitement and joy every time they win. Kindness is bigger than just being a fan of a sports team. We should be fans of everyone. We should be kind to the people that we see every single day. But everyday people can't always fill me with excitement and joy. They're not always fun to watch. So why should I be a fan of everyday people? So what's the point of kindness? Why should we be kind to other people? Well, here's this week's memory verse and it'll tell us all about it. You are God's chosen people. You are holy and dearly loved. So put on tender mercy and kindness as if they were your clothes. Don't be proud, be gentle and patient. Colossians 3:12.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 32.
Sally Jessup and May Lynn lived in the same town and went to the same school. And both girls had YouTube shows about slime that racked up views from across the world.
Get slimed with May!
Sally's Slime Creations.
The two girls were polite to each other in the hall at school.
Hey there!
Hi.
But they weren't exactly friends either.
I'm doing glow-in-the-dark slime next week, so you should do something different.
Look, I give my viewers what they want.
Which is basically the same thing over and over. Rainbow sand slime, rainbow unicorn slime, rainbow crunchy slime.
You're just jealous how many views my rainbow glitter slime got.
Whatever.
Plus, you use borax in your slime. It's not safe.
Is too.
Liquid starch is way better.
The two girls glared at each other and marched off. A few days later, May watched Sally's newest episode.
Sally's Slime Creations.
She really should get better theme music.
Here's a super important PSA before we get started. You've probably seen some slime recipes that use borax, but borax isn't safe or healthy.
Hey, that is not true!
I know there's another YouTube show telling you to use borax for the best slime, but in my opinion, you should just unsubscribe to that channel.
What?
And now it's time for some rainbow fluffy slime.
You have got to be kidding! Sally just told thousands of people to stop watching my show! Well, I am unsubbing her right now.
May couldn't stop thinking about what Sally had done.
I cannot believe her!
In the cafeteria at school the next day, Sally walked over to where May was sitting with some other friends at the lunch table.
Can I sit here?
No way! She can't sit here!
When Sally spilled her backpack at the lockers,
Oh no.
May pretended not to notice and marched right on past. That evening, when May recorded her next episode, she had an announcement of her own.
Today on Get Slimed with May, I've got an amazing guest to tell us all about the science of slime. But first, I need to warn you about another slime channel. Someone's telling you not to use borax. Well, you should hit unsubscribe fast because she's a liar. Borax is completely safe and makes the best slime. Now it's time to welcome our guest, Wendy Newton. She's a chemistry expert.
May switched to a split screen with her guest, a middle-aged woman with wild curly hair and sleepy eyes.
Hi, Wendy. Welcome to the show.
I'm honored to be here.
I gotta ask, you think borax is the best thing to use for slime, right?
Borax is great if it's used correctly. I think God has given each of us the smarts to look up safety guidelines and be wise about it.
Oh, yeah, of course. So let's get down to it. You're a chemist. How cool is that?
You could say we're all chemists. I mean, just baking brownies is chemistry.
That's right. What kind of chemistry are you whipping up for your dinner?
Oh, well, it's actually, 3 a.m. here.
Wait, what?
I'm in Dubai right now.
But that's like halfway around the world, so it's night. I am so sorry. I woke you up.
It's all right.
You said that in your email. I forgot.
It's okay, really.
You're being so nice about it.
Hey, kind is cool. There's this verse in the Bible from the book of Ephesians. It's kind of my motto. Be kind and tender to one another. Forgive one another, just as God forgave you because of what Christ has done.
May frowned. She had to admit she wasn't always great at being kind when someone made her angry.
Look, I've messed up so many times, and God has wiped the slate clean every single time. That makes it a lot easier to forgive when other people make mistakes.
Like calling in the middle of the night?
Hey, aren't we a little off topic from slime?
I think I'm gonna have to restart this recording. I said some stuff about someone else I need to delete. And how about I call you back in the morning? I mean, my morning, your afternoon.
That sounds fantastic.
May leaned back in her chair and released a long breath.
I haven't been very kind. At all. Even a little.
Grabbing her phone, May started a DM to Sally.
Hey, I'm sorry about the lunch table thing. I think Rainbow Slime is pretty cool. Maybe we should do a show together sometime.
May wasn't sure how Sally would respond, but she did feel better knowing that she'd taken the steps toward being kind, instead of focusing on payback.
God sent Jesus to die for our sins, not because we deserved it, but because that's how much God loves us. Wow! Talk about kindness. We can choose to show God how much we love Him by being kind to others. That means forgiving others even when they let you down. The one thing to remember to do is this: be kind to others because God is kind to you. Be fans of other people. Then every day will feel like game day! Woo! See you next week!